All right, today we're going to be focusing on the kettlebell snatch, and we're going to be breaking down a few common mistakes that I normally see while performing the kettlebell snatch, and a couple of things that we can do to overcome that, or things that we want to focus on in the process of breaking down the snatch. So the snatch is clearly built on the kettlebell swing, particularly the one-arm swing, right? So we always want to make sure that all the technique with the one-arm swing is dialed in. Things like shoulder packing, resisting rotation, right? We don't want to be allowing our shoulders and our hips to be coming out of, to become disconnected. We want to make sure all that's dialed in first, okay? Now, as we progress to the kettlebell snatch, similarly to the clean, the kettlebell snatch produces, reduces, and redirects force, okay? So the one-arm swing goes straight out, right? That projection of force is out. The kettlebell clean and the kettlebell snatch, the projection of force is going straight up, and that's by taming the arc, pulling the pulling the elbow back as soon as you drive your hips. So as soon as you drive your hips here, you're going to pull your elbow back as if you're trying to like elbow somebody right behind you. And almost think as if you're bringing the belt, like snatching to your hip. Okay? So as soon as you, same thing with the clean. As soon as you would drive through here, you would clean the bell by pulling it to your waist and not allowing the arm to come out, because then the force will go out and then you're trying to reel it back in. So that arc, which is the distance between your hand, the bell, your hand, and your hips, this gap here is the arc. And we want to bring that in as close as we can. So the kettlebell clean is a swing that ends in the rack, and the snatch is a swing that ends overhead. Only we're projecting the force upward, okay? So similarly to the clean, you want to focus on snatching the bell to your hip. But the only difference will be is with the clean, when you would drive through here and you'd pull to your hip, you would then push your hand straight ahead this way, and the bell will finish here in the rack position. For the snatch, we're going to drive, pull to the hip, relax your hand, that part's very important, and then punch overhead to the lockout. So during things like cleans and snatches, you want your grip to be as relaxed as possible. If you start to overgrip the bell as it's coming up, whether it's to the rack for the clean or overhead for the snatch, is the bell will begin to flop over and smack you in the wrist. This may be happening with you now already. Is the bell will flop over and smack you in the wrist. Something like this. Right there. I'll do it again. Okay, and then what happens if you see my wrist, it also puts me in that broken wrist, this broken wrist or a broken arm position, okay? That's what happens when you overgrip the bell. So two things happen when you overgrip the bell. It's going to rotate in the center of your palm, resulting in blisters, torn calluses, etc. And when you punch overhead, you're going to get that floppiness as the bell goes overhead. So we're actually going to use an unexpected drill to perfect the lockout of the snatch, what we'll get to in a little bit. And believe it or not, it actually has nothing to do with the snatch. This is a little known technique to improve the lockout. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to focus on getting the belt to go straight up and down. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the dead snatch. The dead snatch is, in my opinion, one of the best components of creating a really good snatch. And basically what the kettlebell snatch, what the dead snatch does is it teaches you to come straight up and go straight overhead. Okay? And so one of the best ways to learn the snatch, like the clean is bringing the bell overhead first. And to do that, you can do a strict clean and press. Press it. Now, starting from here, bringing the bell straight down and keeping it as close to your body as you can. And you're going to initiate that by flicking your wrist like you're shooting a basketball, and letting the bell just drop straight down. And parking it. Okay? So, from this position, you're going to do basically a one-arm deadlift. And you're going to drive and snap through your hip. And you're going to bring the bell straight overhead. And you'll see how my elbow stays really tight to my body. And I have to relax my grip and punch overhead. Everything else still applies. The exhalation right at the hip extension, all that still applies. So you grip, make sure everything's set. Put it back down the way you got it. And repeat. And put it back down the way that you got it. What that's going to do is that's going to teach you that trajectory. Okay? We want the bell to go straight up, and we want the bell to come straight back down. Okay? As you start to get the hang of that, start to create a little tempo, and then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly bring it up to where it's more of a hang snatch and not so much a dead snatch. So I'll knock out a few dead snatches. Okay. Then as I get confident in that, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable, you're going to go into the hang snatch. And you're still going to drive from pretty much a dead position, but now the bell's going to be slightly elevated. So you bring the bell up right about here. You can do a little descent to get some leverage. Do a little descent. And then when you're ready to go, you're going to drive, and then all the principles stay the same. And then you return it as if you're going to do like another swing snatch. Bang, bang, reset. Load the hips. Boom. And you're going to go into the hang snatch. Those are two pretty simple progressions to improving the snatch. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the lockout. So I'm going to show you an analogy that I like to use, and that is imagining that the handle, and so think about science class. So back to high school science, and think of an orbit, right? So the small planet always orbits the large planet, right? Like the Earth orbits the sun, right? Not the other way around. So think of the kettlebell, the handle, and the bell itself. Think of that as small planet, big planet. So the small planet is the handle. The large planet is the bell. Now, if I allow the small planet to rotate the bell, right? Rotate the big planet, it's weightless. And even if there is impact, that's the extent of the impact. Look, very little. Now, if I flip it and I allow the big planet to start to orbit the small planet, or the bell start to orbit the handle, for one, it's crazy heavy now, and two, there is a much bigger impact as the bell strikes. So I'm going to do this in the clean first, and then we're going to do it taking it overhead. So as I drive my hip, as soon as I hit the lockout, I want to quickly relax my hand and push the handle around the bell, and don't let the bell rotate the handle. So when I push that handle, it's going to cause that little planet to orbit the big planet. So I'm going to show you with the clean first, and then I'll show you with the snatch. So I'm going to do it correctly first by pushing the handle around the bell. See, no impact. You see how I push my hand inside. I'll see if I can slow it down and exaggerate it just a little bit. I'll kind of turn here towards the camera. And I'm not going to really do a traditional clean. I just want you to see the dynamics of what I'm doing by putting my hand into the handle, which pushes that handle around the bell. See how I push my hand inside? See? Pushing the hand inside. That way when I do the real clean and I drive and I pull my elbow back, I push the handle around the bell. No impact, it's zero. And I'll do a couple. Pretty seamless, right? Now to take that overhead, same exact thing. As soon as I drive my hip and I pull the bell back, I've changed the trajectory, so now the bell's going to start going up. Relax my hand and then push the handle around the bell into the lockout. Okay? And then from there, and this isn't part of the lockout that we're actually going to work on. This is just getting that bell to move seamlessly around, around our hand. We'll get into that secret little ninja trick to improve the lockout that has nothing to do with a snatch. So, again, relaxing the hand, punching straight overhead. Oh! Rewind. So, incorrectly. So right there I just demonstrated pushing the handle around the bell. Now let me show you what it looks like when the bell rotates the handle. So here's a nice one. Okay, no impact. And then here's incorrectly. See that? I allowed the bell to rotate the handle, and you saw it smack and slam right into my shoulder and my forearm. And that can, believe it or not, that can actually lead to stress and microfractures in the forearm. So now we're going to take it overhead with the snatch. As I drive, you'll see me relax my hand, punch my hand through the handle, which is going to rotate that handle around the bell. See, my hand is relaxed at the top. I'll turn to the side. I'll do it again. Okay, turn to you. See, I'll see if I can do slow motion. See? And that's relaxing the hand. Gotta relax the hand, very important. Gotta relax the hand. That's gonna allow you, when you're hooking it here with the hook, and then you snatch, as the bell's floating, that's gonna give you the chance when you relax your hand, that's gonna give you the opportunity to relax here and literally just move your hand through the bell as it's in space. As it's floating, you're literally, here's the handle, you're literally letting go. That way you can punch your hand through, okay? So now that we have an idea of how to manipulate the bell and getting that handle to move around the bell, we're now going to work on the process of the lockout. And we're going to use an exercise that has nothing to do with the snatch, but it's the exact same movement pattern. And that is the push press, okay? The push press has nothing to do with the snatch, but the mechanics are exactly like the snatch, okay? So when I'm here in the rack, I dip, and then as soon as I drive, here, notice the bell is close to my body, right? That arc is tamed, just like the snatch. If I go here, that would be the snatch, and then I punch my hand through. So once I'm in the push press, I'm going to drive, and then quickly, as the bell is floating, I'm going to quickly punch my hand overhead. Exact same pattern as the snatch. Now I'm going to do the snatch, and you'll see how similar those patterns are. You see how similar they are? Same hip drive, right? The only thing is I'm not starting here. I'm starting here in a quarter squat. But the same hip action, same breath, and same trajectory of the bell. Here, here, and then the only thing you got to do is relax the hand and punch straight overhead. So what we broke down today was the dead snatch, starting from a dead position, driving, punching straight out overhead. Then we went into the hang snatch. Here, bang, 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 teaching you this up and down trajectory. Then to manipulating the bell and getting that handle to rotate the bell and not allowing that bell to rotate the handle. Okay? And then we closed it out with tying in that push press with the snatch and getting the breath, getting that trajectory straight up and down. And that's really going to solidify the lockout of the snatch and prevent the bell from flopping over onto your arm. So give that a try, practice that, break down each piece, and let me know how it goes.